G2 versus Koi in second game of this best of 5 in 2023. It's the third game of G2 versus Koi in the year, because obviously they played earlier on in the regular season. I'm still Medic, that's still Vedi, at the end is still Caedrel.
So you're going to say Pedro then?
I've always been...
no.
I can't believe you've got the name Pedro, by the way. Completely randomly, because one guy in your chat just decided, hey, Pedro, because...
Yeah. I don't know how it happened either.
Because you speak Spanish, I guess?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Here we are. It's now a thing. But we're here.
Wait, no. How much of a game could you cast in Spanish?
Probably the whole thing,
The whole thing,
Let's go.
He's fluent.
Eddie and I can do it.
We're on an English what?
Yeah.
Cast in Spanish as well?
No, we'll cast in English and you'll just be our Spanish translator or something.
You know, I did Spanish for 2 years. I can say, hola, mi amigo, me llamo Vedi.
Donde estás? La biblioteca. Me llamo Aaron.
Yeah, your guys' Spanish is great.
Let's go back into the game. Koi selected blue side, and they will ban out the Draven. Caitlyn removed by G2. We wonder if that Maokai will be first picked by Koi or whether they will look for something like the Ashe. Those are both options. There were 160 something of them in the game.
Are there 160 now?
165, I think. I think we're
probably
up there.
Imagine you know every spell of every champion.
I don't know. Maokai banned by Koi though.
Maokai banned by Koi, so just changing it up. Ashe still open, Elise still open. What direction will they go in? I saw the Koi players on stage laughing, having a bit of a giggle, taking a bit of a mick out of each other. So I think they're having a good time. They're not going to be too tilted from that last game. They're just mentally reset. But Ashe and Elise are the two champions I'm looking at now, and Sejuani too, I think, if they're both out.
Koi banned the Ashe.
Sus.
Okay. It is a little suspicious
what
that
are they
would
setting
do
up
that
for?
on the blue side. They're definitely setting up for something.
I'm surprised that's not a Nautilus ban, you know, and then they just trade off. Like, give over Elise, perhaps play an Ashe lane, and then play Sejuani into it or something along those lines. But maybe they've got a different idea.
Well, they must do, because they banned away the Ashe instead of that Nautilus. So
I hate you, Medic.
the Sivir removed by G2. So we do have some of the power picks still available here.
They want Koi to pick Szygenda, I think.
Or Elise.
They have to pick Elise.
Yeah.
They can't give Elise over to G2 with Ashe being down.
I was going to say, do you think that Elise is just S tier?
Yeah, I think it's S tier if your team knows how to play around Elise very well. Like if you're a good dive team, I think then Elise is just an example of such a powerful champ. Like a T1,
I remember
for example.
seeing your rankings of the champs, and Elise was an S tier. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Elise was an S tier. When like T1, for example, pulls off Elise dives really well, and they play double range spot with like Varus, Kalista support, and then they just push you in, and there's not much really counterplay to it. So I'm a bit surprised they banned Ashe and took Elise, but we'll see how it pans out. Varus can be picked up here from G2. What is Koi's response? Do they want to play a Lucian lane again into a Varus this time?
Do you reckon they just lock in the Nautilus here, or do you think they get jungle?
They could go jungle and then play Nautilus on 3, because I think if you blind Nautilus here, maybe Koi could play a brown lane, but I don't know if that's something they want to do with Elise. Jayce is another one which you could just pick here and then pick support on 3, but yeah.
Oh, they're going to go for the
jungle makes sense.
Fair enough, yep.
That's the first time Yike's actually played Sejuani this split.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Interesting. That does surprise me a little bit. I thought that he would have at least one Sejuani.
At least according to the numbers I have in front of me. Yeah, he's played Lilia, Graves, Kindred, Bel'Veth.
Very diverse champion pool, of course. The Jayce now being hovered for Larssen, potentially. Often we see this AD, AP, mid-jungle, what's the word? Portfolio diversification. You want a mix of damage, basically. So it becomes slightly harder to itemize against. The question is, how do they round out here? Do they lock in their AD carry? Do they want to try and get themselves a support? Are they just going to try and leave? Are they actually going to lock in the second soul? I'd be surprised if they do. I feel like AD carry makes the most sense here, but then what do you pick into the Varus? Do you want to just go for the Lucian again? Because if you do, it's very likely that Nami's just going to get banned away. Exactly.
There's no point going Lucian on Nami here. Just go full top side, I think, and drop bot lane. Makes the most sense. There's no pairing you can go for. G2 could match here with Jax, I think, or just look for Nautilus here and then go 4-5. Olaf as well, some kind of top lane champ.
Yeah, something we saw a lot of from BrokenBlade last week. He had a very impressive 1 versus 3 where he walked away alive, even got himself a kill. Very comfortable on the champion, and it makes a lot of sense, something that he often picks specifically into the Cassante. Now means that G2 can look to pinch the AD carry pool even more.
I wonder if Koi will go mid lane pinch or whether they'll get rid of the Nautilus alongside a mid laner here, because you can reduce some of that pressure that the Varus would have in the lane if you get rid of Mickey's most played this split.
Getting rid of some support, okay.
I would be surprised if they don't take away a Kali.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I feel like a Kali here for G2 with Sejuani would be really strong. I mean, the lane phase early will be a bit tough, but that would be a good pickup for them. And I think when you're in a situation like this, where you have 2 obvious roles you can ban out, it's always better to double ban 1 role than it is to split, unless there's some cases where it's better. So I think here they should just double ban mid. I was a little bit surprised they aren't banning Nautilus. I think that G2 likely gonna 5-pick support, of course. And if they do want to play a ranged bot matchup, then Nautilus is something they're going to run into. So with that being open, I think Koi might go for some kind of melee support bot lane here. Question is what? Either that or they're blinding Soraka.
Yeah, it could be something like a Zeri Soraka down towards the bottom side. There is the
it.
Nautilus, so now Akali is open for G2 if they want to have Caps lay his hands on that.
Yeah, I think here it's either Nautilus Leona ban or a Zero Akali, because I feel like you're trying to put both your hands in both different baskets here.
Right.
Because I feel like if they lock in Akali here and then counterpick your melee support bot with a Leona,
yeah,
I think their comp is
could
just
still, of course,
it's
do
just
something like a Rakan if they want to as well. Like there are other options that they have at their disposal because they can save the counterpick for support till last.
What? Bel'Veth?
Is it?
Wait.
It's Sejuani support, I think. Is it Sejuani support?
Sejuani support.
We'll wait for a bit. Or is it
Okay.
Bel'Veth mid? I don't know. We'll wait.
I like Bel'Veth mid seems really foolish to me.
Let him cook.
I'll be honest.
Let him cook, boys.
There is the Lucian Nami.
Slow down.
I'm trying to think if there's any other options.
Options here are Sejuani support,
Yeah.
and they're picking a mid laner.
Or Sejuani top.
Bel'Veth
Or
mid,
Sejuani jungle.
and they're
Olaf
picking
top,
a support, I think.
Bel'Veth mid. Quick, check Cap solo queue. Quick.
No, let's see what we're looking
It's
here.
gotta be something
I'm going
in
to
there,
check it
right?
just in case.
Check the holy text. The truth will exist.
It's Bel'Veth mid, I think.
Bel'Veth mid into Jayce.
Or it's Sejuani mid.
Or
Or it's Heimerdinger mid.
Yeah, it's Bel'Veth mid. Okay. Here we are.
Okay, so there's no Bel'Veth mid in Caps' solo queue. Ever.
No Bel'Veth mid.
The only person who I know was playing Bel'Veth mid actually was LS. I was watching his stream and he was playing it on release. So I'm sure he knows a lot about how the matchup and how... No, they've swapped it. Sejuani mid. They've baited us all. They've baited us all. It's going to be Sejuani mid. Wow, this makes me think of Doinby days when you're playing Nautilus and Malphite. And
it also reminds me of the Zac mid that Caps brought out earlier in the season and was playing at Worlds last year. You know, a tank mid laner that has some engage threat, that has some kill threat. Team it up with a carry jungler, you know, a Kindred or a Bel'Veth. It can do some work. A little surprising. I'll put that one out there.
Okay, so I've done the research.
Yeah.
He's played 5 games of Sejuani mid. TP Ignite, Radiant Virtue, Fimbulwinter.
Well, he basically just plays jungle Sejuani.
Yes,
mid Sejuani.
He's gonna probably have TP Ignite, and he's probably gonna roam around, and he's gonna do cap stings as he always does.
Yeah.
What was his win rate there?
Don't look at the win rate. Let's just say he wasn't winning a lot. I mean, he was losing more often than winning.
Has he won a game? I can't find
He won a game.
He won two
nice,
games.
nice,
He won
nice,
two
nice,
games.
nice, nice.
No skin, Sejuani. There it is. Spellbook, TP, Ignite, Sejuani mid. Game 2, G2 versus Koi.
You know what they did manage to do?
What?
They got the melee mid-jungle duo.
Yeah, no, Now listen, gentlemen. I've got a Gordon Ramsay fanboy on my right. And I've got a guy who's re-rolled from a doctor to a caster. You can re-roll to a chef for a second. What do we think about the dish prepared? G2
Spicy.
have cooked up something pretty unique for us.
I think seasoning is good.
Seasoning is good.
Presentation, not bad.
But how does it taste? That's my question.
I think we're
Because
gonna
I
find
see a Sejuani mid into a Jayce, and I feel like it's a very neutralizing lane. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily win the lane, but it also doesn't like really lose it.
You have
it's
some
Sejuani.
sugar and you have some acid, and you're cooking with them. It kind of neutralizes those
Exactly.
flavors.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. What are your thoughts here? Gordon Ramsay
Where
wannabe.
Han Samo was warding there because I thought Koi was going to make something cook. They're going to lead invade. That's what they're going to do. I was wondering what's going on here on this bot side of the map. They are trying to stop Malrang from 3 camping into bot and trying to threaten any kind of dives.
No, Malrang's on the top
Caps,
side
did
of
he
the map.
I think he started W and he's just shoving in the wave. So he's ready to match. So Malrang has to give up. And now BrokenBlade's here.
Oh,
They're
so,
just...
Great, Larssen, you're going to catch the wave. Okay, Szygenda is going to deal with BrokenBlade. Now, BrokenBlade has the ghost, has used it already.
It's Yike, he's going to run
camp
to the
was
towers.
reset.
He's going to run to the towers. He's going to get the wolf. He's going to get the wolf. He's going to get the wolf. It's so spicy. And he flashes out. What is this?
What?
They hate spiders, man. They're arachnophobes. homophobes!
This is a set play from G2. You can see it. Sejuani flex, push in mid-level 1, late invade bot side, crossover with Olaf.
Malrang has smite and Yike does not, and there is a ward on this blue.
Is it. He needs to get this
You've
blue
gotta land this
or
smite.
it's over. He needs to get this blue or it's over. I can tell you that for a fact.
So Yike with 2, I think will probably take an E second, so he won't have a knock-up. He's going to go forward. Malrang's trying to sneak in and smites it away.
Oh, he took E as well, trying to get the kill. He just Hex flashed all the blue. Now he's mad. You've pissed him off now. Malrang, you took his wolf. You took his raptors. He's going to chase you into your jungle.
Yeah, how will he adapt here? What's he going to do? Let's just focus on Malrang.
He's going to Hex flash over to the red. He's going to Hex flash over to the
Gank top. He's got no flash. He's got no flash. He's got no ghost. Remember Adam's Olaf? We might see a repeat of it in this game, guys.
It's first blood.
BrokenBlade goes forward. Szygenda very willing to accept him. He's dead. He's just going to sack to the tower. Make sure that Malrang doesn't get an assist here. Szygenda will take the kill.
Not bad, honestly.
Overall, first blood, the gold lead for Rogue.
Anything you can do, I can do better, Malrang says. He was born in the chaos of level 1 and level 2 jungling. Good response from Koi.
I will say Yike is 3 camps ahead.
Good response from Koi. First blood. I can't help get the image of Whippo in my head right now, because do you remember at Worlds?
The Graves game where he was
against Life with Willer.
Yeah. And they lost the game still.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, okay, let's talk about the theory behind that. The idea is to put Malrang incredibly far behind, right? BrokenBlade immediately invades.
Is he didn't do it. He did Gromp.
Yeah, and now he's back
top with Hex Flash. Is he going to Hex Flash into the alcove?
Can we see what BrokenBlade sees right now?
Oh, BrokenBlade steps forward, steps back.
What is he like? What? He can't go to his.
Oh,
he's getting level 3.
3.
He's scared of going to his own red because the enemy team has bot push and maybe he thinks Yike is
and
there.
pings have come down. Look, you can see on the minimap, they're not entirely sure where the Bel'Veth is, so he said that there's a real risk that he could be on the bot Scuttle Crab as well. G2 bot lane have to be a little bit cautious. Mikyx doesn't have a ward available. But wow, okay, what a crazy early game. As Medic summarized for us, Koi do have the early game gold lead. Larssen has no mana. And Caps, well, he's not really going to do anything off the back of it because he's Sejuani.
He's got no flash.
He's
But Yike is here. He's going forward. Yike looking for it. There's the stun. Locked up. Cocoon comes out as well. But Caps on the board. Equalizes that kill score. And now Yike can try and chase Malrang through this jungle.
Very creative use of the blast cone there from Yike. Completely caught Larssen off guard as he was trying to chip away at Caps underneath the tower. The goal there from Larssen was just to deny Caps as much farm as possible, maybe even threaten a kill. And then Yike is able to punish, and we got to see that the double melee mid-jungle duo, except the Sejuani was the one in the mid lane setting up the play.
I feel like it was a bit of a blunder from Larssen, though, because he was out of mana and the wave was crashed. There was no real need for him to get those extra few autos in. He probably called Malrang to cover. Malrang was looking, but then once the wave crashed, Malrang ran away. So a bit of miscommunication, I feel, from Koi, but good execution from G2. Larssen didn't even use the flash. He knew he was dead. Malrang will get away with getting his red buff and such. Bit scared of the invade from Yike.
And Mikyx and Hansama just continued getting the push down towards this bottom side. We did see Ashe as an answer into the Heimerdinger because you can outrange her his turrets. But once again, Hansama has been able to get back to base and get back into the lane because Mikyx held the wave with his turrets. And now he has a tier stacking up and is in a very strong position. But back to the jungle, guys.
Yeah, Malrang has 12 CS.
Now, 14 now.
That's his 4th camp.
Okay, so you can leave the little ones if you don't care about the gold and just care about the XP, because they'll die after 10 seconds. He's going up towards top lane. BrokenBlade has Ghost, no flash. Might look for a mid gank, but instead works his way up, scuttles up towards this top lane. Yike is here too, though. Yike is here too, looking for some death in lavender.
Malrang wait straight from bottom to top.
Here he goes. There's the Ghost. BrokenBlade, no flash. Malrang locked up though, and Yike once again in the right place. Gobbles him down. A delicious banquet for the Bel'Veth as BrokenBlade takes the kill.
Nice setup there from G2 again. Yike knowing that BrokenBlade wants to crash the wave. Malrang trying to punish. Use the repel to commit. Of course he's bot. Of course he's bot.
That Glacial Prism onto Trymbi. Doesn't quite land the CC. Caps tanking the tower. Trymbi though sniped from long range as Hansama takes him, and now Koi. Comp is in for a world of hurt. A double for Hansama, and it's falling apart at the seams for Koi.
They're ganking top, they're ganking bot. It's 6 minutes into the game. Yike will catch mid wave as a carry jungler with a tank mid. He's more than happy for that. to happen. G2 just showing creativity around the map.
We had a minute where the game slowed down, and I thought, oh, G2 have ran out of plays. Never mind, immediately we saw the roam down a bot, the gank up top, Caps being unlocked on the map. Doing it on Sejuani, though, is not what I expected. And, you know, you summarized it beautifully. It's like the Doinby days, right? Where you would just sacrifice a wave to then look for an opportunity. You can see that there's no way for him to catch in mid. He's able to set up the dive on bot. He has that level 6 play. He initially tanks the tower, then Mikyx takes the aggro, and it's a very clean dive from G2.
Look where his jungler is. His jungler just ganked top and is farming his camps, and then his mid laner saying, I'm diving bot, take mid wave. That is the most beautiful thing a jungler can hear in his ears ever, especially when it works. I feel like Caps is just the heart of G2 in these games. All throughout the last few years, playing these crazy mid laners. And yes, he has his funny int moments, but whether it's the Pyke, whether it's the Nivea, whether it's the Sejuani, the Zac, he always just pulls something off to make the game feel different.
Even in the good old days, Dylan, we have to go Vayne. Like, he has been this player since he joined the league, and I don't really blame Koi for getting caught out by the Sejuani roam, because it has been 10 years since we last saw a mid Sejuani in major regions. Many reasons for Zenix Blast. Played it in 2013 summer, so 9.5 years technically.
Was that in Champions? Yeah, Champions 2013. Wow.
Wow.
What a time to be alive.
10 years ago.
Born too late to, you know, be a medieval knight. Born too early to explore space and time. Born just in time to experience Caps.
On Sejuani mid.
On Sejuani mid.
I mean, just Caps in general, I think, is
Caps in general.
something nice. Is Szygenda here, caught out a little bit. We'll use the flash to get away, and Yike prioritizing the Rift Herald here makes sense on the Bel'Veth. You want that upgraded form. Get your Void Coral out, get your little helper Remora, and also get some stacks on your passive. That Death in Lavender up to 16 already. Yike will want to get that, you know, 80, 90 before he really starts to shred through opposition.
Caps is going to dive bot, by the looks of it. He's running down, but he'll get spotted by Malrang and back away. But I feel like when his jungler's on one side, most mid laners lean to that side. No, Caps goes the other way. Looks for plays on the opposite side, and normally in pro play, hang on, Mikyx.
Trymbi caught out here, rooted up. Chain of Corruption did hit, and Trymbi just doesn't have a moment to breathe, doesn't have a moment to live. And so he is taken out once again. This Nami so susceptible to the combination of Heimerdinger and Varus. Larssen next up, and he will burn his flash to escape the waiting jaws of Yike.
From experience, this is one of those games where you look at the enemy team and you say, are we playing the game wrong? Like, is our understanding of how the game should be played just fundamentally wrong, and the way they're playing is correct? Because the pace that G2 are playing at, Koi can't keep up.
Malrang has to flash away from Yike as he continues this chase.
Did he just steal his red?
He's got a red, and
but yeah, I wasn't entirely sure if he was.
So
oh no,
it's about to spawn.
It's spawning now. Yeah, my apologies. But yeah, wow is all I can say. It's you gave the example earlier, Caedrel, but for those that weren't around watching Professional League in 2019, the three favorites of that year's World Championship were G2, SKT, and FPX. And coming out of the group stages and even the quarterfinals, G2 and SKT were looking incredibly strong, and a lot of talk was around one of those two teams winning the whole thing, right? And FPX on the other side, they kind of had a hard-fought road. They went all the way 5 games in up against IG in the semifinals. Then in the finals, the 3-0 against G2 that many of us like to try and forget. But it was this type of playstyle where they would bring out these crazy mid laners, where Doinby in particular would consistently just sacrifice waves in mid to look for roams around the map. And it was back then G2 would try and match with the Pyke mid, the very famous Pyke mid that they picked in the first rotation of that World Finals to try and match Doinby and try and counter some of those roams. But his ability to do that was something that was unrivaled, and very few teams could actually emulate that style, even though many did try. This is probably the first time in a long time that we've seen a very similar style work to great success in the early game.
Here they go again.
Trymbi locked up, all 4 members of G2 down here, and Trymbi has nowhere to go once again. Just assassinated, one more auto's enough. Yike steals his soul, Comp clears the wave. But now, can Comp survive?
And look at the mini-map. Comp's dead. He's as good as dead. And BrokenBlade's catching mid-wave. Actually, TP coming in. Maybe they're going to protect.
Just locked up by himself. They're trying to protect.
They're double TPing.
Double TP. Chain of Corruption coming in. Larssen low already. He's eaten again. It's a double for Yike. They're looking for more. Szygenda goes all out to try and defend for Comp. Now, once again, underneath the tower. Now, there is a long wait for the next minion wave. But instead, they put the Herald down to tank the tower. Comp is going to try and kill himself on the enemy turret in-game to make sure that Summer and Caps can't get any gold out of it, but he can't get there quickly enough, Unsummer's on a killing spree, and G2 are demolishing Koi.
They're acing them between towers at 11 minutes into the game. Only Szygenda lives. That was double TP invested to save comp, and they even gave up more kills than they initially intended to. BrokenBlade caught mid-wave the entire time. They've lost nothing on the map for this play.
I can't believe what I just saw. It's such a great demonstration of when you're strong, showing what you can do.
Yep.
Like, the gap between G2 and Koi right now is so massive, and G2 is showing it to them. Trymbi is just trying to get back to lane, and like, what does Larssen even do in this situation? Like, he can't match this roam with Caps. They can't beat them in the 4 versus 4. So at this point, Comp just has to try and survive. Malrang's doing what he can. He oversteps only slightly to then be punished by Yike and Mikyx. He's only level 6 to the level 8 of Yike. Then the double TP comes in, but Larssen has no HP. I think that's because BrokenBlade in mid lane actually chipped him down in the middle of his TP. And what flawless execution from G2. What else is there to say?
What else is there to say? Well, G2, we'll see what play they look for next. Caps and Yike teaming up. Larssen can't even enter his own jungle. Larssen, don't do it. Don't
You
go
walk
that
away
way.
from the safety of your tower and immediately you're locked up. A beautiful death for Larssen as Yike gets his 4th of the game. Yet to die means he keeps the Remora stacks up as well. And it is almost an 8,000 gold lead, guys. Well, 7,000 gold lead for G2 right now at 13 minutes into this game.
And you can see G2 just sacrificing all these waves on Caps to give them to Yike, or just sacrificing the time to get hands ahead. And you can see that in the gold, you know. Caps is basically even with Larssen, but the jungle and AD gap is massive in terms of gold. BrokenBlade might be in trouble. Koi looking for their first kill. I've seen BrokenBlade do crazier things.
Yep. Uses the Ragnarok, dodges the all-out, now turns his attention over to Trymbi. Trying to get those autos down, but just can't do it. Koi get their 2nd kill. Meanwhile, Unsummer and Mikyx very happily taking turret plates in the mid lane. They took 5 bot, 4 mid. I want to see how many they took 13. Top as well. Is that all of them?
Is that going to be 14?
Will they get it? Couple more autos. 14 plates
14.
For G2.
Wow, 14 out of 15 secured. 1 short of the achievement. But it doesn't matter. Dragon spawning in a minute's time as well. And it's hard to not feel like that this game is done and dusted, you know? Like, this is a game where if this was a scrim, you FF go next.
Yep.
This would never happen in a real game. What valuable practice is this? That's the frustrating thing when playing against G2.
But it's okay. Malrang has his boots and Oblivion Orb.
He does.
So they're back in the game right now. Koi got this. It's going to reduce that healing so much.
Was he running around with boots and Oblivion Orb? What a legend. Just looking for these psycho plays with these items.
I mean, you've got to, right?
You've got to find something.
Like, you're looking for maybe a shutdown onto Yike to get some gold into your back pocket.
So, you know how you were asking us about the dish at the start of the game?
Yeah, I was,
You know, like what it would look like, what it would taste like.
Yeah.
Looks like a 3-star Michelin.
Wow.
I might say.
You would rate it that highly?
Well, if they close it out at this rate, it looks pretty damn good.
Szygenda able to dodge to the side there, using the Unstoppable as well to get away from the stun from the grenade. I was wondering when we saw the draft whether it would be, you know, actually spicy or German spicy, you know, shaft, but actually just pepper. Right now it's looking like a few chilies in there, you know, a couple of jalapenos, a Carolina Reaper. And at the moment, the Reaper's only coming for Koi as Mikyx caught out just a little bit, but he's going to try and turn this one over to Comp and Trymbi. Yike steals away another camp and continues to stack up on that Bel'Veth.
Drake spawning. They're just going to pick that one up. G2 waiting for the explosive team fight to start breaking the base, but it's still 15 minutes into the game. They've still got a 2nd Herald in their back pocket. We'll see how far they want to push the advantage. Knowing G2, they probably want to break a record somehow. So they might overextend. Koi just need to try to stay composed. The whole map's falling apart. Try to group up, try to stay composed, try to punish overextensions like that from Mikyx there. They're not going to commit though.
Coming goes down. Well, they're trying to commit, but you can't get through the turrets, and they don't know where Yike is. He can dash across that wall, remember. Cap's coming in as well. They can't even kill off Mikyx. Good use of the turrets to tank up a couple of those shots from the culling. Yike now coming down towards this bottom side. Void Remora is going to help them out just a little bit as they chip away at this tower, but it was on Bel'Veth that G2 had that 18-minute, 53-second game earlier in the split. I believe one of our fastest games ever in the LEC. Here, they're not going to fully push in the bot lane. The Rift Herald is going to come up for them in a little bit.
The Herald.
Yeah? Maybe they could have used it. But TP actually from Caps, they look to catch out Larssen up towards this top lane. Larssen trying to get something on the map. The first tower of the game perhaps, and should be able to secure it with one more auto attack. He'll take it, gets the bounty, but a little consolation prize it is for him. More of a participation trophy than anything measurable as Yike gets his 5th kill.
I can see it already. G2 is going to end top. I can see the positions on the map. They're going to try for it.
You want a couple of waves to build up the extra Remora for the Bel'Veth, so if he stays up there and catches these...
I can see BrokenBlade not going to catch bot wave. Hans is running to Shadow top. They have Herald.
I don't think it was in range for a few of these minions, so not ideal if they want to end from this, but they might just look for comp instead. Glacial Prism, Caps going forward by himself. Malrang with a good repel there to dodge away from the Sejuani ult.
Yeah, okay, they're not going to have a big enough wave up there. If they got a couple kills, it's something they could look for, but there's the Herald. So here comes the push. If Koi can withstand this,
Caps is tanking the tower. Like, he could have just backed away at any point there.
Yeah, they can withstand this pretty easily. G2 aren't going to go for any crazy shenanigans. They're going to back away, pay some respects, and I think the Nash is what they've probably got their eyes on now. Koi still not able to find a pick.
What do you do in game 3? Like, do you bans?
God,
like,
I don't. Fortunately, that's not my job. Yeah, I just get to sit back and watch what will be game 3. But you know, we did jokingly we did jokingly say that every time these two teams meet, it is a 3-0, and
it's looking like
game 2, G2 just came in incredibly well prepared. You talked about it, Caedrel. It felt like a set play. The level 1, I don't think was that overwhelmingly impressive. But the follow-ups as a result of that were just great to see. The fact that Caps was able to find so many great roams, specifically towards the bot side of the map, the fact that Yike was able to limit what Malrang could actually do in the early game. We saw Malrang go from Raptors straight into a top gank. And at first I thought that he was there to cover for a potential dive, but it seemed like his game plan was let's catch BrokenBlade off guard in that wave and let's create a gank, with which Yike was just there primed and ready to cover for. So G2 have just found every answer to shut down Koi, and while I think Malrang has done what he could, it's now a 10k gold difference between the two teams.
I remember there was a brief scrim meta when Sejuani mid was meta in 2020 when Xin Zhao jungle was viable.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And you would play like Xin Zhao, Sejuani, jungle mid, and this would be your kill threat into sides. But here with Bel'Veth, they're pulling it off.
Where are you going, Comp? Not many places, it feels. He dashes away, but Yike will chase him down. The Endless Banquet has begun. Yike sees the TP behind him, and now they're in a 2v4. Szygenda trying to get into the action. Yike dodging away as much as he can, but he's going to get booted up for a second. Continues to dodge and to dive and to dip away from it all. And G2 now in the chase. They don't like it when you isolate 2 of their players. And instead, they'll try and chase you down. G2 will survive. Caps gives a bit of a questioning glance with the emote there. And now G2 will just go back and farm up the mid wave. It's, yeah, whatever Koi try and do just is met by an unstoppable force at the moment that is this G2 lineup.
Yeah, it's a bit too hard to tank inhibitor towers at this point, but it looks like BrokenBlade took a shot or 2 and then backed away. Baron spawning in 20. I think G2 are going to reset, move back out onto the map, start up the Baron, look for a turn. Their turn is really strong. Heimerdinger ult with E, Varus ult, Sejuani ult. If anyone walks up, they are going to get CC'd, and G2 will turn.
That's a 5.2k gold difference between the junglers.
Yeah, we can have a quick look at the total goal for everyone.
Morello first item. I know LS is sitting at home. He's sipping his tea, ready for some good LEC top tier action. He sees that.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think we could say much bad about Malrang's itemization this game. The guy was given pennies, Caedrel.
You're really going to flame him for going Morello first? Leave the man alone!
Poor Malrang.
He's got less gold than Mikyx.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Malrang
he's almost Flame Horizon. He is Flame Horizon at 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's definitely one where... Hang on a second, Caps.
Going for comp, hits him with Glacial Prism, like Yike's on the chase as well. Can't quite find it.
Don't have enough damage.
Ultimate form has timed out there for a second. Baron obviously an option to regenerate that, but from now he will be in that less imposing Bel'Veth form, and I'm sure Koi will be very happy to have to deal with, you know, a less powerful Yike.
What I will say, like, because I think we can all agree this game feels over.
Yeah, I think we agreed that about 5 minutes in.
You've played against G2 before, Caedrel.
Yep.
One of the really frustrating things I imagine you experience when preparing draft is, so we can ban this. We could ban all of the meta stuff. We could pick all of the best meta stuff, and you feel like that they still have an endless champion pool, right? And then game 2, Like, this is a prime example of it, right? You expect the Sejuani, you expect something a little bit more traditional meta, and even we, after game 1, were saying you remove the Nautilus, and that's actually where G2 have looked their shakiest, because, well, the bot side of the map, if they're not, like, hard winning 2 versus 2, it feels like the G2 don't feel as strong as they normally are. And then what happens? They've created this mid-jungle duo that just terrorizes the entire map. So how do you even approach a team like this that seems like that they can carry through any lane and have so much versatility in terms of their draft?
Some questions are hard to answer, and I think that's one of them. Where it's like, hey,
Really?
Caedrel, they have all of these strengths.
Yeah.
How do you stop them? And it's kind of like, well, the only thing you can really do is kind of look in the mirror and say, let's play our own style, get our own OPs, and if they want to do crazy shenanigans and make it whack and wild.
Well, what did you do when you played against
Well, we lost, obviously.
It's like, but I mean,
what do you expect me to say?
You had all of these draft strategies. Did you win? No, 0-3.
wasn't
Actually, we beat them once.
was that cool Urgot game where you had like a crazy
Wasn't
thing
against
around
G2,
Baron?
no.
That wasn't against G2.
I played a Nocturne game against them once, and I went like 9-0, but we lost.
You, really?
Baron taken for G2 now.
Spring 2019. But yeah, no, they're a really formidable team when you have so much flexibility in draft. It's really hard to guess where anything's going, but also what to ban, because you don't know where anything's going, kind of. So yeah, you can see it, that 4-5, right? You think the Sejuani is going jungle.
Szygenda just TP'd to this tower, and he is already dead as Yike goes godlike. G2 are pushing for the win. As much as I like story time with the lads, I think the end of the game might be very imminent. Here it goes.
Imminent.
Imminent.
Here it comes. Hansama. I thought he was tanking the tower for a second then. The first tower will drop. Koi faltering. The damage just from the E of
Yike's
Hansama.
going forward. He's looking for more. Wants the kill onto Trymbi. Hansama takes it instead. Comp and Malrang forced back into the fountain. Larssen forced to the last remaining turret on the map for Koi. And in one of the most convincing games I have seen in a long, long time, G2 will go 2-0 up over Koi.
One game away from the finals here, G2. Next weekend, or this weekend I should say. It's Monday, always forget that
Yeah,
it's
it's on
Monday.
Sunday now. The finals are on Sunday. G2 one game away from securing their spot there.
I mean,
You can see the face on
yeah,
Larssen.
this is one of those games where it's like, so
what do we do?
what do we talk
What's
about?
the takeaway here?
Like, they're able to counter game.
He's scratching his head, laughing like, what do we...
Yeah,
well, that was
it's,
the game.
and it's one of those things where it's like they can gank top, but also they can counter gank top, but also dive bot at the same time. So how do we stop that from happening? Do we also play a mid laner that can drop all these waves? Do we play super aggressive level 1 and just split the map? You know, just 4-man invade bot side, split the map level 1.
Sion, Sejuani mid, Zac top, just everyone
Tristana,
sacking
just lane
lanes.
swap.
Yep.
Yeah,
That worked well
know.
for IG, didn't it? When they, pulled out
This
that
is
lane
going to
swap.
be a tricky one for Koi, because it feels like G2 are firing on all cylinders. It feels like that as a team, we think back to, well, even last split, they were ramping up throughout the regular season, right? And then the first half, they went 4-5. Second half, they went 8-1, right? And this is a team that typically gets better as time goes by, but we're only in week 5, and already this team is looking incredibly dominant.
Yeah, it's incredible performance so far by G2. We'll see if Koi can bounce back. But before that, we'll talk once again to Ender, who's going to give us a telestrator about Yike.
Hi, Ender.
Hello.
Hey, Caedrel. Hey, Pedro. How you doing over there? Look, I got to talk to you guys about Yike and about G2 because I can't help but feel like whenever I watch this team, they are the most unique team that we have in the LEC. And after bringing Yike into the roster, they completely revamped how they approach drafts. And a lot of it is because Yike's champ pool is freaking weird, man. He plays all these carry picks, plays the Viego, the Lilia, just bust out the Bel'Veth for us again. And it's so counter to what the other meta picks are in the jungle. Like, where's the Sejuani here? G2 just picked Sejuani, but it wasn't in the jungle. And what G2 do is they try to make up for the fact that his champion pool doesn't have hard engage, isn't a strong frontline, by supplementing the rest of their draft. And this is what makes them so unique, because if we bring up Mikyx champions, right? He plays the Nautilus down in bot lane, right? If you don't have engage in jungle, you need that bot. Or you need the Sejuani out of mid lane, the Zac out of mid lane to find the initiation. You can also play more AD mids, right? The Jayce mid has been something Caps has been playing as well to again supplement the lack of physical damage when they're going for an AP jungler. All of this to be said is that you can basically pick and choose different pieces that a Sejuani would give you with that hard engage by taking a Nautilus down on the bot side. But I would be sad, I guess, if we didn't actually walk you through the level 1, because this game got off to an absolutely insane start. Again, G2 changed the way they play the game because they have Yike on the team. And it all starts off with just the most ridiculous level 1 invade. If we can go ahead and bring that up, because I've never really seen this invade on every single side of the jungle before. That just does not happen, quite frankly. But they're allowed to do it because they have an Olaf on the top side that's super powerful at level 1, right? And then also, Yike can clear away those Raptors pretty effectively on the Bel'Veth. So you see what G2 are doing right off the bat. It's a very late invade on this bot side. You know, there's a ward here they're going to be able to clear away, and they work with 3 people so that even if Malrang was on this side of the jungle, he would have to back away, right? Koi are not going to be with him. At the same time, you have BrokenBlade sneaking past Szygenda, looking for an absurd fight. It doesn't matter that he's in the middle of 2 people either, because he has both Flash and Ghost to escape. Misses the first undertow, unfortunately, but Yike hits level 2, and then keeps going between the turrets. What is this man doing? He only takes 1 turret hit because he uses the dash to scoot on through, smites away the wolf, and forces Malrang to flash. It is completely ridiculous what he's able to get away with. Now, G2 don't end up snowballing quite so hard off of this because Malrang sticks around, gets the flash, and then immediately has the insane pathing to go ahead and look for the top lane gank, which results in a kill. But it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter when you play against G2, because all they want to do again is play to dive and dive and dive. And while Yike might be farming, the Sejuani may just be ganking in a similar style to how Caps roamed on the Jayce or roamed on the Zac previously. So we can go ahead and play out this clip here, because again, Yike looks for very play around the top lane a little bit later on. Go ahead and hit that play button. Is that on me? I don't think that's on me. That's on you. Perfect. They go ahead and look for the top lane dive to be able to shut him down. And at the exact same time, the bot lane dive is in full swing, right? Yike was just in top lane, and Caps is already looking for the roam, coming down bot lane, shut it, misses the ult, doesn't matter, he is there. And then over and over and over, they look for these dives. It is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that you have a caliber of player like Caps that can look for these windows over and over and over allows you to play effectively with 2 junglers. And from there, the snowball does not stop. G2 continue to look for dive after dive after dive. Bot lane becomes just a wasteland of bodies. Like, Koi cannot survive. They can't even get back to lane. Poor Trymbi is between turrets while his AD carry is stuck trying to farm minions. Everyone's dead. G2 play perfectly on priority, and this is a masterclass in how European League of Legends is played. G2 have been at the top for so long because they understand this, especially led by Caps, and the way they have worked Yike into the system has been impeccable. They are already up 2-0 in this series. I personally believe it is going to be a quick 3-0, and they are going to be at the top for a very long time. But we'll have to see if Koi can bounce back straight after this break.
Has the Ghost, has used it already. Malrang,
he's going to run to the towers. He's going to the towers. It's going to go. He's going to the wolf. It's going to the wolf. It's going to the wolf. It's so spicy. What is this? What? This is hate spiders, man. They're arachnophobes.
Oh, hit tower. Hit tower. Hitting.
Okay, just end.
Send.
Good job, guys.
Actually,
Stay in game.
Yeah, that's one.
Very good game, guys. Good strat.
Donger
I
still
have to farm.
Oh wait, 0 death Donger.
Kill Jayce.